You're committed to implementing a content strategy for your business, but you're not entirely sure that you want blogging to be a part of that strategy. Well, I have good news for you, because in today's video, I'm going to share 4 strategic alternatives you can use in place of a blog as a part of your successful content strategy. So whether you're just getting started with a content strategy and maybe you're not into blogging because you don't necessarily love to write, I'm actually in a similar boat, but I could talk to people all day, which is why video works well for me. Before we dive into these alternative platforms, I did want to mention that the platforms I'm going to be sharing today would all serve as a signature platform. Now, just a brief overview of what a signature platform is. All it means is that this is where you're sharing value with your ideal audience members. They can just get a sense of maybe what it's like to work with you or the type of value that you offer. If you want more information on the signature platform, you really want to dive deep and get a feel for what yours needs to include, you can be sure to check out this video where I dive deep into the signature platform as well as a couple other essential components of a successful content strategy. So as long as you're listening to these alternatives while keeping in mind that you want to be sure to deliver value for your ideal audience in a way that they're able to access it for free, then you should be good and you should be able to quickly identify the right alternative for you to implement in your own business. Our first alternative, and this may have been an easy one to guess, is video. This could be live, like on Facebook or YouTube or Instagram, any of the other live video platforms, or pre-recorded, like on YouTube, and now there's IGTV. Whichever video platform you choose, and I do recommend that you just start with one, it's important to make sure that you're really delivering value for your ideal audience in those videos. Because delivering value on video is one of the fastest ways to build connection and trust with your ideal audience members. Now, one additional thing that you might like to do after you've recorded video is embed it on your website. This just builds a bank of content that people know they can access on the platform you own online. And here are a couple audience building considerations that you'll want to keep in mind if you're planning to use video as your blogging alternative. Consideration number 1. I highly recommend being on either Facebook or YouTube, picking one platform and getting really, really good at it. So Facebook Live is a great option because Facebook tends to push live video in the newsfeed, meaning more people are gonna see your content. If you go with YouTube, this is also a great option, but for a different reason. That's because it's searchable. So people can be searching for the types of topics that you're creating videos about and end up landing on your video. The second thing to consider is super simple. Just make sure that you are promoting your videos on your other social media channels. Sharing on social is gonna help make sure that your content is being viewed and also help your audience to stay engaged with what you're up to. And the third consideration to keep in mind if you're planning to use video as your blogging alternative is once you've embedded those videos on your site, go ahead and promote them on a site like Pinterest. You know, just like you see people promoting their blog posts, you can do this with video the exact same way. Just create a quick graphic using a site like Canva and then promote them on Pinterest. It'll get more eyeballs on your video. Alternative number 2 is a podcast. Now, this is a really great option if you don't mind talking, but you're not a big fan of being on camera. It's also a great way to build trust with your audience because it tends to be a pretty intimate platform, meaning if you're putting your earbuds in and listening to someone's voice, you're gonna feel like you know them, right? So this is what your ideal audience members will start to feel about you if they're listening to you for an extended period of time. Another reason why I'm a big fan of using podcasting as an alternative to blogging is that it's a great way to build authority quickly. Podcasters tend to be viewed a little more authoritatively than some of the other types of content creators. Now, something to keep in mind with podcasts that you should especially consider if audience building is your number one priority, meaning you don't have a very big audience yet, is that podcasts are very hard to discover. So it's not likely that your podcast is going to reach a new audience unless you kind of make it reach a new audience. So if podcasting is for you, we need to talk about how do you make your podcast reach a new audience? Well, here are a couple ways that you can prioritize audience building while still sticking with podcasting as your blogging alternative. First, be sure just to embed your podcast on your website with a little bit of text, maybe giving an intro to what you're going to talk about in that particular podcast episode. And then just like we talked about with video, you can promote those podcast episodes just like you would a blog post on Pinterest with, a quick little image that you create and then share it so that everybody knows where they can find it. And actually Pinterest, you'll start to generate new traffic that's not familiar with who you are. Second, you'll of course want to promote your podcast episodes, each and every one of them, on each and every one of your social media platforms that you're actively using. This will just help you to get more listeners, help to let your audience member, your current audience members know that you have a new episode available so they can be sure to tune in. Finally, one of the best ways to build your podcast audience quickly is to cross promote on other people's platforms, meaning get interviewed on someone else's podcast, bring somebody else onto your podcast so that they are likely to share your episode with their audience. These types of collaborations can help you to build an audience quickly and help you to be discovered by an audience who might not otherwise ever find your content. The third alternative is an online community, like a Facebook group or even a Slack channel. Why do I love this alternative for someone like you? Because it will help you to stay consistent. So again, if this doesn't align with you, then you can ignore that. But if it does, if that resonates with you, then consider creating an online community and showing up on a regular basis for the people who join and using that as your blogging alternative. Now, I could create an entire video all about the different types of content that you could share in your community. But the biggest thing to keep in mind, especially now as Facebook groups are just, they're a dime a dozen, and even Slack communities are becoming more and more popular, it's just important to first dive a little bit deeper into what other people in your space are doing in their own communities, and then consider how you can differentiate yourself and stand apart and make your community a really unique place. Additionally, you'll want to be sure to link to your community from your website and create some clear rules and boundaries within the community, just so that you are in charge of the structure of what types of conversations are happening within your community. And just make sure to set those guidelines in advance so that you can keep the conversation and the connections very productive and aligned with your business. We want that people to be able to access this type of value, this value that you're providing in your signature platform, without having to give you their email address or pay for it, so they can really get a good experience with your brand before investing, even if it's just a little bit of personal information they're investing, but before they have to invest with your business. However, you definitely want to make sure that you're using your community as a place to promote your paid offers, your lead magnet style offers where you want to get people's email addresses. Be sure to link to those things in your cover photo. Make sure the description of that photo includes links to your most important offers. Whatever platform you're using, just make sure that people know how they can take the next step to engage further with what your business and brand has to offer if they're getting a lot of value from that community experience. And the fourth alternative is a little bit of a different one. It's what I like to call robust resources. Now, these are the types of resources that you just have to create once and they can continue serving your ideal audience for years to come. Things like ebooks, mini courses, even infographics. If you're a designer, this is a great one. Something that is really valuable and almost transformative in a way, meaning that your ideal audience member can start consuming this content and really gain some value, like a significant amount of knowledge or even a skill by the time they're done consuming your content. Additionally, you'll want this content to be evergreen, meaning that they can access it pretty much any time of the year. So it's not something that's super time sensitive. It's something that's going to be a little bit bigger picture, perhaps, and related to a solution that they might need at any point in time. And then you'll also want to make sure that this robust resource, maybe it's a few robust resources, is a focal point on your website. Robust resources are a great alternative for your business if you just don't want to do blogging because you don't want to have to sit down on a regular basis to write a ton of content. This is a great way to create a significant amount of content one time and have it serve your business continuously. You can even build your audience using robust resources by getting featured on other people's platforms, and you can continuously be promoting this resource and sharing it with new people who might become part of your audience. Additionally, make sure that you link to these robust resources in your social media bios. And since you want to be making this content accessible without getting your audience members' email addresses, be sure to include a call to action within your robust resource to direct people towards those lead magnet style offers where you will ask for their email address in exchange for even more valuable content. So there you have it, 4 alternatives to blogging that you can use as part of a successful content strategy. If you want more insights on which platform you should choose for your business and how you can put an entire streamlined and simplified content strategy together to build your audience online, be sure to take my content impact quiz. Also, if you like this video, be sure to hit subscribe, and I'll see you in my next video.